I've made lists before of all the traits in Build 42 multiplayer. This instead is a list of my favorite traits and my reasoning behind picking them. This is going to be 3 parts: free traits, skill traits, and traits I like. Free traits include the following: sleepyhead, restless sleeper, weak stomach, hearty appetite, fear of blood, smoker, prone to illness, conspicuous, poor passenger, slow healer, thin-skinned, and deaf. The skill traits I will present will include a forward on the importance of skill levels and these traits: amateur mechanic, mason, inventive, baseball player, brawler, blacksmithing knowledge, keen cook, gardener, gymnast, runner, wilderness knowledge, and hunter. The traits I like section will conclude with my ideas on nutritionist and the black box of Build 42 calories, organized and disorganized, low fitness, high strength, a build I'm very prone to running, and my thoughts on illiterate, a trait that is much less damaging in multiplayer but is by no means free. I'll start from the end and work my way back to the beginning, ending with free points that pay for all these expensive skills I recommend. The importance of skill traits is paramount. Starting without a skill level means your XP gain in that skill is 25%. If you start with a single level, you instead gain 100% XP. This also compounds with fast or slow learner taking or giving 30% and skill books giving 3x 5x bonuses that are all enhanced by your starting skill. Because of that, the 6 skill levels of mechanic from level 0 with both fast learner and books is an exhausting grind, where the 3-point mechanic trait would get you 10 levels with the same time spent grinding. Because of this, my favorite traits in Build 42 give skill levels, starting from the bottom right. Hunter for 8 points gives you 1 level in shooting, short blades, sneaking, butchering, and trapping, as well as giving foraging bonuses of extra range and reducing weather effect. Most traits give some form of foraging, so I don't plan to go into detail every time. This is the only trait that gives shooting, short blade, sneaking, or trapping. Short blades can be a tricky weapon class because knives have an average condition of 150. While sharpening your blades is a great source of maintenance, I hate doing it, so I love railroad spikes. They are the most durable short blade in the game. They weigh half a kilogram and have an average condition of 300. This is also one of 2 traits that give butchering, which is in my opinion the single most important food trait. 3x your XP gain on every rat, raccoon, and rabbit, and if you have the book you will level to 5 extremely quickly and start getting prime and average cuts, which 3 and 2x the calories of poor meat respectively, making rodents a premier renewable calorie source. One of my favorite traits for that reason, but there's a cheaper butchering source I like better. Keen cook is a 3-point trait that gives 125% cooking XP and 100% butchering. Cooking levels get you to 7 and 10 cooking much faster, and use rotten food for free calories, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, which are useful for weight gain and strength leveling. I love this trait, and for 3 it's one of the best in the game, as is the other 3-point trait. Mechanic is the other 3-point trait that gives you 100% mechanics XP. I was hesitant to take this trait for the longest time, until I tried to level my mechanics with just books and fast learner, and I hated it. Like butchering, if you aren't serious about your extraction totals from non-renewable resources like engine parts, you are being wasteful. The max level of 10 mechanics get 2% engine repair per part, and can get the highest amount of engine parts from salvage. The way to level mechanics if you have the books in this trait is very easy, and it's just to do the highest level task you can multiple times. This means after 5 it's doors, windows, windshields, suspensions, and brakes. You will have mechanics 10 in a very reasonable amount of time. Following that is the other 8-point skill trait, wilderness knowledge. This gives a level in foraging, knapping, maintenance, and carving. I recommend this trait vigorously as it gives 4 powerhouse crafting skills. Knapping makes long stone axes for tree cutting at level 4, carving makes bats and short bats for the blunts at level 9 and 7, foraging makes items from thin air, and maintenance is important for all weapons, especially swords. Think of it as being 2 points for each skill, and it's one I pick very often. There are ways to get stone axes, bats, foraging, and maintenance elsewhere we will get into later. This is not the only way to get these items. One way to get stone axes is with the mason trait. For 2 points this gives you 125% masonry XP and a 30% bonus to forage stones. That includes the flat stones you'll need later on, as well as knapping materials and clay for bar molds, bricks, and other useful items. Masonry is one of the best craft traits because it opens you up to building structures using lighters and sand instead of nails, as well as the stone axe and the stone mace. The long stone axe head can be crafted at 6 masonry, which can be obtained quickly by making stone blocks and reading the books, which can be found in garden stores. The long stone axe is a very useful tool that allows you to build an axe anywhere in the world. My recommendation is bring a 5 kilogram table with you. You will need a crafting surface. The next trait, gardener, is one that gains a lot of value from the multiplayer setting. Gardener gives 100% agriculture XP, which improves the starting health of your plants, effective cures, the bonus yield of fertilizer, and makes getting to level 3 and 6 much easier. Additionally, this trait is one of 4 that gives minus 13% weather effect, the other 3 being hunter, which I like, and hiker and former scout, which I do not. Agriculture is often said to be super difficult because of growing seasons and the time it takes plants to grow. Not observing growing seasons is just a skill issue, but time is one factor that is improved by multiplayer. In the server I play, if one person is on the server, they progress the flow of time for everybody. As soon as you log in, your plants will register the time difference and grow accordingly, making a 60-day plant on 3-hour days take less than a week to grow, where on single player that would be 180 hours of time spent waiting to grow those crops. One note about agriculture is dry herbs and utility plant. Herbs can be grown throughout the first 2/3 of the year, and most can be dried into -5 hunger dry rations that weigh 0.1 kilograms. I eat these all the time, and they're one of my favorite parts of the B42 agriculture change. My second favorite change is the utility plants. Sunflower, flax, hemp, wheat, barley, and tobacco can all be grown and foraged, and can be used to make various useful items that were impossible to source in Build 41. Flour, rope, twine, thread, tobacco, and lesser-known seed paste. Seed paste is an item that's made from 30 seeds of hemp, sunflower, or flax in a press that when eaten gives 2,120 calories and 130 grams of fat. It is in essence plant butter, and those 3 plants can be grown throughout the year. Sunflowers being my favorite. Don't sleep on agriculture. Blacksmith knowledge is a very simple trait, so I will talk about its effects on long blade, as that's the combat skill it most affects. It gives you 125% XP toward metalworking and 100% to maintenance. Build 42 finally allows for an endgame weapon set for all combat skills, including long blade. Long blade has 5 weapons you can craft, as well as the katana, but I'm going to only speak about 3. Short sword, sword, and machete. The sword and short sword are purely combat focused, each with an advantage in either damage or weight, the short sword weighing just 1.5 kilograms. The machete, however, stands above all in my opinion as the greatest long blade in the game. It's more durable than either of the 2 swords. It acts as a knife for butchering animals. It's one-handed at 2 kilograms with excellent damage, and it can be used to remove bushes and cut down trees if you have to. It's my favorite by far, and blacksmithing knowledge even improves its most important secondary skill, maintenance. Keep a whetstone in your inventory when you use this because you will have to sharpen the thing a lot, but with a light or bag in the offhand there is hardly a better weapon. Brawler and baseball player are the 2 traits that give long blunt, with brawler being the only trait that gives axes. For the same reasons as crafting skills, a combat skill level is something I prize. Each level in a combat skill improves your total damage, crit chance, and durability lower chance. On weapons with blades this also affects how much you have to sharpen it. If you take the long blunt route and make reinforced baseball bats with 9 levels of carving 2 levels of carpentry, you have a base crit chance of 45, improved each level where, by the time you have 4 levels you are one-shotting almost all zombies. It's what I consider to be one of the game's best weapons for that reason. Axes in build 42 have a far greater variety than in build 41 as well, gaining access to the crude axe, jawbone axe and the ability to make wood axes at advanced forge which were impossible to create before. Whichever weapon skill you choose to focus, the community has the ability to make every kind of weapon besides bullet. Inventive is a trait that is very vague in what it claims to do, and when it came out in 42.3 I didn't see how it could be useful. Having made multiple characters since who got blocked by needing a recipe I did not have yet, the purpose of inventive is to make getting recipes occur at the skill level you gain the ability to craft the item or allow you to research a related item and learn the recipe that way before you are able to craft the item. I'm a big fan of recipe books allowing you to craft items one level below skill requirement. However, books, especially specific recipes like carve bat, nap large stone axe blade, and forge sledgehammer head can absolutely suck to obtain, which inventive fixes. If you know you don't have the recipe magazines you need for what you plan to craft, always research items as they usually have some recipe to teach you. Be aware that items which you are able to research craft action on change with the skill levels you have. At level 0 carpentry for example, you can't research a tin can to learn can reinforce long weapon. Finally, runner is the last trait in my skill trait section. I like mixing up the sections to fuck with you, so I put skills first. Runner for 4 points gives you a baseline running speed of 105% where each level after you gain another 5% speed. The common saying in Project Zomboid is that you should never run because it wastes endurance and could leave you in trouble at a bad time. My thought is instead that it is wasteful to run slowly. If you run faster you waste less time and endurance. In the same way as nimble having a 3x to sprinting XP makes getting levels in the skill way easier. At one point I had 5 sprinting levels and I ran at 125% speed. It felt like being a car on legs. It's wonderful, and with that being said I think much the same way about gymnast. 4 or 5 points justifying the usefulness of this trait is far more apparent but no less important. Nimble is a stupid difficult trait to level up and this is the only trait that gives it, so it's basically mandatory. Lightfoot is also in here but it doesn't interest me. I don't sneak, I fight. I want to fight every zombie, and that's what I took these traits to do. That's why I call the 3 traits that are your combat trait, gymnast and runner, the combat suite with honorable mention to fast learner that makes everything much easier. Free points is our next section where a lot of this will be self-explanatory as many of the same free traits in build 41 are the same way in build 42. Talking here about slow healer, thin skin, weak stomach, conspicuous and prone to illness. However, some of these traits are either new additions or require explanation as to why I think they are free points. Poor passenger is a new 1-point addition that claims to make you sick when in a moving vehicle. At the current moment it does nothing, so it is free points. Hearty appetite is server dependent. It gives 4 points and makes you hungry 25% faster, but also gives you 3% bonus to finding certain food types when foraging. In the server I play where days are 3 hours long, hunger is a non-issue and this is free points and almost a buff. Fear of blood and smoker do the same thing, so I'll group them together. They will max out your stress and depression, which in single player is a 23% debuff to your damage, makes guns worse and increases the length of crafting actions, but in multiplayer it seems to simply not do that. I just keep sad 5, stress 5, uncomfortable 5 on my screen at all times like the Zomboid Power Rangers. It's gonna be okay. Finally, death. This is gonna be the most controversial, but I think death is a super generously priced negative trait. It gives 1.5 the points of thin skin or illiterate and gives 2 more than unfit or puny. It is the most negative trait points of any in the game and it costs 2 things. You can't use radios and you can't hear zombies groaning or beating on doors or windows. Everything else, not hearing alarms, helicopter, works for me because what most people don't know without playing death is that you hear 2 important sound cues from zombies, the jump scare when one's close and the combat music. I have wanted to talk about death traits combat music for a long time. Very simply, when zombies spot you and initiate combat you will hear combat music. The 2 I know best being, maybe we can win this and overrun. These 2 songs give you notice that zombies are attacking you and how many there are. Maybe we can win this is around 5 to 15 and overrun is any more than 16. You are in essence no less aware than a hearing person, and it's my personal preference to not hear zombies. I do not like hearing zombies all the time. That's why I consider death free points, or more accurately, very generously priced for the cost. Finally we get to talk about traits I like and my closing thoughts. To start the traits I like section I want to begin with unfit and strong. Fitness is a skill I find to be really easy to give up and strength to be just the opposite. Strength 9 and 10 give 20 and 25% bonus damage and make your carry capacity 18 and 20. Fitness on the other hand can be started from 0 with no XP gain lost, as they are the only 2 traits that the XP bonus does not apply for, so lock in unfit for 10 and strong for 10 and do burpees until you are 5 fitness and 10 strength and you got a ton of value for free. There is a reason I prize strength over fitness, and it has to do with organized and disorganized. I am a fan of both of these traits and also having neither, which I'll call non-organized. The rationale behind that is my 4 kg large frame pack with 70% weight reduction and 24 kg capacity is heavy as hell. I also like to wear armor and use weapons that are 2 kg a piece. I carry a lantern that is also 2 kg. If I had 0 STR to start with I would need to play very differently. Luckily for me, multiplayer has the advantage of friendship. The relationship between organized, non-organized and disorganized players is one of cooperation. Most people do not like taking disorganized for good reason, so you can ask them to cram your containers so you can use the empty ones. The way I see it, disorganized is a trait you take for points and organized is a trait you take for the power of 60% larger capacity containers. The biggest disadvantage of it in my time playing it is freezers and crop. Once I have 3 or 4 crops harvested, my freezers are just full, and that is where I tend to need the most help. This next topic is going to be bonkers. We are considering the benefits and changes of illiterate. If you take this you are not going to be able to work a generator or use recipe magazines unless you get them through alternative methods. Luckily multiplayer and build 42 basic traits has alternative methods for you to choose from. The reason you are likely to make an illiterate character is if you are trying to make a veteran with good crafts, combat skills, fast learner, nutritionist and eagle eyes like I am. It's the hardest 8-point trait in the game besides asthmatic. Ways I get around the problem of not being able to engage in a lot of crafting is to build in the skills I plan to use. Wilderness knowledge, mason and keen cook are great examples of this. Furthermore, I can persuade my friends to build things for me, and I get to forage for ammo with my ammo forging 50% bonus. A trait that is a huge deal if you like forging and especially helmets is eagle-eyed. For 4 points, it will give you an extra tile of forging radius, and in a crude metal helmet your standard vision goes from 90 degrees to almost 180 degrees of vision. The difference is stark, and one of the reasons I built a veteran character is so my vision will never be reduced by panic. Finally, nutritionist. My pitch for this trait is open the black box of build 42 calories. The wiki has the calories and nutrition facts of all food. However, the wiki can be unreliable as foods have varying weights, especially meat and wild food. Seeing how many calories are in bugs made me start eating bugs. Learning how much fat and protein are in caterpillars made me start eating them every chance I could. Finding out that leeks have 140 grams of protein per leek. One of my favorite plants to grow. You get Shinigami eyes for calories and nutrients, and it's immensely satisfying and worth the 4 points I spent on it. Thanks for watching. Drive safe when you do. Come join the game. Look up Death's Legion multiplayer on Nexus Mods to find the server and access the hidden world.